Kevin and Jessica. So we do have a quorum. Can Jessica, Kevin, can you hear us?
I can.
Yay. All right. I don't know if we can hear you. I know, but like, can we get them louder?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you barely. I don't think anyone else can anyone else hear Kevin? Not sure.
What about now?
I can hear you through my computer. So I might need to grab Madison and see why it's not going through. Yeah, that's what I thought I was doing. All right, Kevin,
Yes.
but it's still not going through the. All right. I I did Madison did it for me, so I don't.
I heard Kevin and everybody well.
And I can hear the two of you, but it's not coming through like the TVs or the sound system or like that.
Got you.
Sorry.
Or you might down by the. So we get you a little better, you gotta turn it up.
Is that the best way to?
Um, I don't think people on, I could hear it on my end back there. So you're saying you can't hear it on the speakers out here? That's strange because we started the conference and we turned on the microphones. Give me a second.
Okay. Sorry about technical difficulties, but let's see if this does actually work. Kevin, can you say something again?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Is that working? All right, that's good enough. So
Okay.
they can hear. I'm gonna. This seems to be working.
Oh,
All right. Okay. Yeah, we are live. Put this over here. You want to get
For you. Thank you.
All right, so. Yes, January 14th, and hold our initiative meetings of order. I'm just gonna roll call, only the commissioners as normal, so I'm even here. When I say your name, just go ahead and say. Megan the one.
Here.
Yara one. Is considering the moment, Elizabeth Brown, it's not in attendance to the moment. Eric Reynolds is not in attendance to the moment. Jessica Travis. I see it came off of you there. I think maybe you're talking about. Jessica Travis was in the Zoom meeting, but currently, I think, trying to be able to speak through the Zoom meeting. Kevin Smith,
Here.
Don Newman. Here. And Summer and John. Yeah, here. So, all right. Here, Roberta Riders. Oh, I thought I skipped one for Roberta Riders. And Shannon O'Connor is also at the moment, thanks, so. Okay. So I guess the first thing we do would be to approve the meeting minutes from the November and December meetings that were prepared in transcripts that Sean emailed us. I didn't see anything super off in the transcripts for those. Does anyone have any comments on the meeting minutes from November and December? I do not have your motion to December meeting minutes. John, you made motions to accept the November and December meeting minutes. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay.
Aye.
Aye.
I guess I didn't vote this for a second, but we have formed, we all see approve the meeting minutes. From November and December meetings. Okay. All right, can we get a second to approve the meeting minutes from that?
Second.
Yes.
Roberta seconded. And Jessica, we did hear you the last time.
Just. You have to. It was.
Kevin, Jessica, are you able to turn on your cameras? Just real quick to vote. Aye. There we go. You both were ayes, correct?
That is
On the
correct.
minutes? All right. Yep. that
All right,
worked.
thank you. So. Business, so these were planned, budget funding, these and voted. Sean, Eric, funding those.
Yeah.
Okay, so tentatively, we're going this year from the city of Akron towards the funding of public art initiatives. The 3.4 in the work plan, have not yet created the budget, it was about that contingency, but since that was we were able to look at, much update. There was a request that we put the funds toward maintenance, based off the finding new public art inventory, into something that some serious process, first of all, to manage maintenance of public art inventory, identifying opportunities to develop mobilize community, social entrepreneurship, or whatever else, partnerships to try and maintain some of these pieces and identify pieces where conservatorship and get sessions necessary. So basically trying to put funds towards the maintenance plan and starting to looking at some of the businesses around the city that were identified by art stuff. Again, more new information regarding the bureau proposal. Maybe Sean can speak more to this, but regarding the city center parking deck, I think that there's specific work agreement with the city center parking deck that makes it like not a good target for doing the road project.
Yeah, I mean, and I wish Eric was actually here because it's Welty that purchased the city center, but I mean that project's going to be under construction for some time. Again, if you wanted to submit that as a project or someone wanted to submit that in submittable, we could look at it, but I don't see that as being the right location for the next year or so.
So, well, with Thompson, last that we can't do so much, the areas will be under construction, they're doing things like that pointing and other things, also on part of that. So it's like we want to be open to the builder and we can lay out there because the whole here construction project and kind of slows down the week already. So I don't feel take share this focus on that contingency in terms of the plan. Now, if we wanted to do a mural project in another neighborhood or another location, it's not that the application was chosen arbitrarily, it's just that there's like a lot of large public things walls there. So it could be something where it's really all another idea to develop a project outside of the main spots that we want to mobilize. It would be great to like start thinking about concepts that not yet potentially be projects too. But now that we have public art inventory, we have a lot more data to go and kind of like think about when we might want to invest on the project. So I'm just throwing that out there. There's nothing we have to discuss or vote on at this point. Just that the city center parking garage, due to future construction, both buying the city center garage and updating updates of the parking deck, it's probably not a good place to do it at this point. So, but that's yeah.
Okay, sorry, that money that you would have set for this, do you want to use that on maintenance then?
Well, I think that it's up to the commission to decide, because we did only vote on the contingent work plan to approve it, right? And so now that we know that we're gonna have funding, we're gonna have to go back to that other amount and kind of decide how we want to apply that. So I think that it could be said that we can get ideas from everybody, and by next commission meeting, just as a deadline, let's all think if there's a project that we want to develop by the end of the year, something like we're commissioning art, like a public mural in the city of Akron, or there's another community mural, like the one Summer proposed down on, what was it, Portage Path?
Between Marks and Sam.
The big, she was talking about that wall that kind of snakes around the kind of scary turn there, that'd be a cool one to have the road there, shut off and do like a little mural there. If there's another area like that, maybe we can develop a separate project, especially since this mural project, as Sean pointed out, we didn't actually fully submit it yet, it was more about just getting ideas about how to use the funding, and so, we didn't get too far into developing the project anyways, right? So, we should have more discussions about it, maybe offline, and I'll come up with an idea or two, and maybe propose it at the next meeting. But let's not try to go longer than the next meeting, so we have time to actually like develop it and try to mobilize, resources to use that funding. Before the end of the year comes up, because as we know, the months are just gonna, fly by really quick, so. Any questions on that, or any ideas, what anyone wants to discuss? Sure.
I'm thinking about,
Yeah, I want the space.
I'm thinking about like the road mural that Arkansas was a part of a couple years ago, on North Howard. It says Black Lives Matter. It's pretty dull now because it's been driven over a bunch. But like, I wasn't here during another information like when that was created, so like, is that something like road based mural, showing round murals, is that something that we're interested in?
I think the city wants to get away from road murals due to the fact that you do drive over a lot, but also the construction, us paving roads and things like that. The Black Lives Matter we visited that, I think it's last year. And at that time, I know there's some work being done in that area, so I could read that approved by our service department. So I think we do want to get away from doing things in the street, and also by doing it in the street, it takes away, people driving up and down. How do you split that main road in half? I know it was done, but we can get more confirmation from it, but for right now, they want to say it. Doing it on the streets.
Yeah, I think just gonna be useful like with the pavement, if you do a road mural, over asphalt, parking in particular, not a little concrete or something like that, it's almost considered like a temporary art installation. And so we're spending like a decent amount on it, we should consider the longevity of it, not that. Temporary installations are bad by any means, but just to consider that, like, in terms of long-term maintenance. Okay, in terms of new business, Sean had some updates regarding the city of Akron branding. That I was just put his name by here because yes, more involved than
Yeah, I kind of dropped a bomb at the end of, or right after the last meeting. So were the business cards ordered? Okay, good. At some point in time, again, the timing of this with the new city logo, was probably not the best, but we're good right now. At some point in time in the future, the city is going to have some branding rules and ideas on city commissions. My thought is it's trying to integrate the city seal at some point in time. I don't have any more information than that, but we're good to go right now with the cards that were ordered, and we'll have to look at it next time.
and with the website, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just did the website.
Yeah.
We invest in some of our hours. So the other thing that
Yep.
I'm talking about was the website. But it sounds like that the premium is not going to be adjusted. So we still get used from the website and from the business partner. Any questions on that? No? Alright, and then Sean, you wanted to move the marketing?
Well, I have a conflict. I have a feeling a few other people do. It's the chamber's annual event dinner. I don't know if other people You know, so my thought was to move it a week, but I don't know what other people's schedules are, or, you know, I don't know that we need to make that decision right now, but, you know, if people were opposed to moving it to the 18th, we can try to get this room again. That'll be an in-person, try to get this room again. If not, we'll just make it virtual. Okay. Mm.
Yeah, I mean, is anyone moving it? You said it's the 18th.
18th, that's the next Wednesday, yeah.
No, get home. So, I'm gonna be-
Megan, you look like maybe not.
No.
If you really fucking not, if you want to hop on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put one time that I like the US for now, the town meeting, and with. Um.
That. If that's what the rest of the commission might choose. I'm also available the Wednesday before. If that is amended.
Okay.
Does everyone want to look at the 4th then too?
For me. So.
It's on 24th.
Yeah. Well, I had something, but it was already canceled.
Unless I'm.
Does the 4th work for everybody then? Okay, I probably need to vote on that. I'm guessing.
Does anyone want to move the March meeting to March 4th? 2026? Yeah,
Would you want it to be fully virtual or want it to be in person?
I mean, I think this, I think in person with the hybrid option would be, you know, the best, but that would be my, sorry? I said in person, but with this option if you can't make it.
I think the person, but.
Then Megan will make them. Give her other things of that from the commission. Instead of March 11, she might.
So make the long made a motion to change the technical resolution meeting from the 11th to the 4th of March 2026. Do we get a second? Second. John Q. seconds that motion. All in favor, say aye. Jane.
Aye. Aye.
All right, awesome. So we have one, so we officially move into the meeting to the board.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Sweet, so, the art section updates, so I put on here, Jay joined out a scorecard sheet, but like you said, Summer and Jessica weren't actually able to meet over the break. And so that wasn't put together yet. But what Summer did do is because the files kind of like shared. She had IT put together a system that she can speak to, and everyone should be able to go view the images through the city system. And we should have the titles. I'm proposing that, as Kevin proposed, a series of like criteria and metrics that essentially we take the spreadsheet, we take the names of the pieces, put them in a spreadsheet, and then we score on the scorecard criteria down on the spreadsheet. Summer also had a good recommendation, which was doing a selection ahead of time. Of like maybe top 30, and maybe we could combine them and select top 30 or 40, because there's over 100 submissions, maybe only 150 submissions, I think, like 160 or something like that. 167. So that way we're not scoring 167 pieces by the criteria piece. So I'm gonna leave that up to you guys in discussion. I personally think it'd be good to at least reduce it by about 2/3 down to the top, 1/3 if you select from, then maybe apply the criteria there. That way the scoring is not so mountainous, says for everyone, we then should. By next meeting possible, so what does everyone think?
So I don't have a problem with carrying it down, as long as we have an agreed on. We follow the application process correctly, yeah, so that would automatically.
Yeah, like on nothing,
But outside of that, I don't, it's just subjective.
yeah, I agree with that. So I think that maybe what we could do for that is we could determine which of the 5 criteria is the most, like the one that we care on the most. Or that's not just subjective, and we could use that to do the initial assessment and pare it down based on the scores. And then we go from there, on doing the expanded scorecard.
Sorry, Sean, we could just see your email.
Oh, yeah, hey, I shouldn't do other work.
If we, that's free. I know Megan's picks now. I'll leave the picks.
I think it's my request, just. So.
Yeah.
I think we already established some criteria for previous conversations in regards to.
Yeah,
Location or things of that sort of thing. Honestly, if you look at the front work, it's really gonna be what it's gonna be individual preferences. So I don't really review them all and mark. Okay, the ones that I always case of this one. So I would just encourage.
I could barely hear John.
Because, yeah, we'll get into the details. And it will be.
yeah, I agree with that. I usually go for, something like the scorecard process. We try and make it simpler while we still have criteria. I think that there's an argument that only like 3 criteria really apply. They're very clear and unambiguous, then maybe that works. But then also getting away from just your subjective opinion. And I also would agree, like instead of paring it down by just whether it's applicable to the board, et cetera. Like if it's one that's made for one track across in one area that doesn't work. So
John, was your microphone on? They were having a hard time hearing you.
One.
Okay,
I think my recommendation. And I'm steps on this criteria. Just fit like the top 30 actually, then we can weed that down to. So. But put in mind the criteria, does it represent, like, at those criteria. As well as, Kenworth, Kenworth CBC, just things, they in Kenworth, reflect the Kenworth. If there's any for the car, and things like that represents Kenworth. As well as, the Akron Children's Art Museum submitted one, which I've seen the box down here. So I would just say, just be mindful when you're looking at the art. And select the ones that you think is best, because then we'll sit down again and put them at the locations of where it was selected. So I don't want anybody to take hours trying to do this and making this make simple.
yeah, well, that's why I was assuming, if we could get it down to like 30 to 40, or even less than that, just by some initial criteria. I think that 167 is gonna be too much to even have like 3 or 4 criteria to discuss against and be complicated. Like John said, we might already have the criteria, so I think what's easiest right now, as a goal for next meeting is just to pare it down to a much smaller selection that we can then look in.
So let's give us a number exactly what you want.
I'm seeing your big glasses over some.
That's all.
Yeah, that'd be budgeted for,
Oh, no, budget for 20.
so maybe.
That's what I was gonna say.
Do we want more than 20, or 30, 40?
And I would just, why don't we just provide our top of the rate?
That's what I said, top 30 would be the easiest, we quickly do a survey and select a time term.
So just as an initial then, let's just select, like, your visual preferences, we can set, our top 30. Try to keep in mind that we're trying to equitably distribute these, like, the awards, but then in areas with high traffic, as part of one of our goals to get our public art infrastructure maybe more visible, right? So, just keeping those.
The issue is that, when I'm looking at PowerPoint,
Yeah.
that we don't some have the words on them and some do not.
Mm,
And so, slide 24 is one where I have no idea what word you're referencing.
So just to answer that question. The notes there is what people put down as recommendations. Some people did recommendations, some did not. So if you're looking at that, you see the title, and then underneath the title would be a recommendation. So it says like Ward 4, that meant the person that did that art. The artist stated that they would like their art to be in Ward 4.
But we have another application.
We did, we had an application of recommendations of locations.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay, I'm just saying I'm not going to. Be able to recommend one order to people that else do, it's because. Some of these are multiple locations in the city, and so it's.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of people saying like now, we're gonna Akron or Goodyear Heights or things like that, but that's just their recommendation. We didn't make any promises saying, this would be and that would be, but it's the same as we did last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is great. So the top 30.
yeah, well, as Eric would point out, we can't put the one that says Chapel Hill on it either in the other, in the other area, so. We have to just make sure that if it has a name of a location on it or like injury location, maybe we'll take that into consideration when we choose.
Summer, do we send these to you for the next week?
Yes, and I would ask that we could send it. Just so that, we can get all the data together and I have time to do it. I would ask if. You guys can have it all to me by the latest, February 2nd. So the first Monday in February.
Okay.
Oh, wait, we meet on the 4th?
That's March.
Oh, that's not, okay. February 2nd. You can just type the title.
Okay, I think I'm also gonna reference this number, which is.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I'm good doing that. I'll look at it and find that.
I think I'm already just sent.
You said yours. You did.
All right.
Okay, all right, so this will be good to initially select them down, so we're not looking at 167. That would be a lot, so, all right. So moving on from the traffic box call for artists, we all understand, what's the date exactly, Summer? The new date for sending that to you. The top 30 or whatever we're selecting.
I think she had said February 2nd.
Right. So. All of that, there's money in February, so I think what I'm gonna do myself, I'm gonna write a meeting down to reach out to everybody. The Monday before that, and I'll send out an email and I'll try to get a record of who all's submitting their stuff, so if you've already submitted it, something like that, or is it like that, John and Megan, sounds like they've already. Spent time on this, right? Already that one they've already selected, but anyone else, I'm just gonna make sure I follow up, so here's some reminders to do that.
Last year, GIS or company folks gave us the map of the most utilized intersections in Grand. It's just lost in my email, I can't find it. I do not know. Okay, so you gotta send that to me, because then I can start like, I have a list that I sent you, summer last month of like. Boxes that I have seen, but I haven't checked if they are some of those highly trafficked areas.
Speaking with the Indians, you can find this video, it's actually on YouTube, so we should go on YouTube and actually find the meeting.
Yeah.
Percent of that,
That's true.
so.
I would love it if it
Yeah, it includes here just send that email out. And I was actually looking for it in my email and I couldn't find it, so I did ask. And it wasn't GIS, it was saying the smart department in the city that does things like that. So if you have it, then you can share it.
Yeah.
If not, they can try to get it from my contact and send it out. Yeah. And I have a lot of places that I'm observing around and taking pictures, so I'll put that together and send it to you all.
You share follow up from.
Of course.
And then, okay, so any other comments, questions, concerns on the traffic box project?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
already. Just because someone mentioned it, like Akron Children's Museum, it
Yeah.
was submitted. are we, like, what was our kind of final thoughts on that? I know, you know, would you be okay with like having a business?
I think that just a fair process, I don't know that just because like the special organization submitted one, that we should this is just my opinion, by the way, it's not like a rule or anything else, but just like, it's just my opinion, that we should just look at all our adding time. Subjectively, and then based off of whatever criteria we're looking at, and if that piece is one of the pieces, then why not, you know, kind of thing, so. Maybe if that's part of your consideration, I think that it would say, is it marked that it's from the Akron? So you could just use that as one of your top 30, that would be an effective straight if you do that.
Okay, so I said in the book, the RFP, or we didn't have it indicated. Sean.
Sorry, what's your question? I don't think it's said either way.
Yeah, no, but you weren't here, we did not specify. We talked about doing that, sure, is maybe asking with this maybe a donation and a recommendation of blocks near them and see if they could give money towards that box. But they were just excited, they called me, they were just excited because of the children that come down and the traffic on Main Street. So they just put it in as a recommendation, submission.
Final question, then we can move on. What are, this is because they don't have the RMB underneath, what are the like criteria that we would X somebody out the process? Like there was folks that just sent like an image of a piece of paper with art on it, is that something that?
Look at the photo, fit it on the box properly, or it's not high quality, but a photography, but a photo is gonna look kind of grainy, that's not going to be blown up. The other thing was that they're not from Akron. So there are submissions of people that just like weren't from the city of Akron, whereas like that was like a specific criteria listed in the request for artists. So just anything listed like that from the original call for artists, just like, I think we decided to just disqualify it, so. Yeah.
So as we're narrowing it down to our top 30, are we still putting the emphasis on youth? Like I wasn't able to look at what Summer sent. So I don't know if she worded out or labeled it as like youth driven or youth art. I feel like if we're gonna do the top 30, I think at least 15 should be definitely youth driven, right?
And, yeah, okay. I didn't know what the answer. It's,
Wasn't they were a student, so if you guys need to tomorrow to go ahead and do the rest of that, yeah. Adding the comments, student.
I feel comfortable with student or you as the back.
Did it say? Okay. Well, I will check to my, I will remove all of the submissions again and label it as student.
yeah, definitely something you can say when you're looking at selecting, if that's something that. Which, you know, I think we talked from your administration, other people that are really big on participation. And the other thing to consider is obviously that we'll public art of the city and next generation is brought about during the play theater to help maintain the art. Giving people ownership over art at a younger age helps them, you know, kind of get involved with it. Those seems more like civic participation, but in a creative way, to go live and be able to be involved with that. So. I think it's definitely something to consider, when you're going to do your selections. Yeah, okay, thanks, Jessica. On that note, does anyone else have any comments or questions on the tracking boxes?
Andy, I could only hear about every other word you said. So are we in agreement of the 15 of them or half of them need to be youth, or what did we agree on? Because I can only hear like every other word you say, Andy.
We didn't agree on like a specific number, we just said that we're gonna select the top 30, there wasn't any specific criteria for them to all of ours to be youth. So I feel like because we didn't limit it to youth submissions personally, I think that we should look at all the submissions. Now, when you're looking through it, if you want to select like the top 15 and 30 as all youth submissions, that would be your prerogative as a commissioner. I would say like looking back at what we think the people in our ward would want, what we needed for the city, those are the kind of things to look at, where the traffic boxes are gonna fit. Like I said, I'm not even being set, we should put more green guard out in general, so I'm not disagreeing with you on using that as a criteria. Okay. Yeah.
Did everybody understand him?
I'm sorry, I was just talking to Andy, but I'm saying,
That's it,
one of these, I don't know if it was. October, November, we guys were talking about it, and they talked about trying to showcase more youth
Yeah,
and a solution, so.
yeah, I think it makes sense, I mean, the last one.
There's not, there's, I think there's 15 students that submitted, so let me go ahead and go back through it and I'll ask student and then you guys
Yeah.
submit, sure, we like such a description.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much in line with what you're saying, I guess, but it sounds like you might not be have 15 students, but I mean, I'm confused with what you're saying, I guess, just not a specific number that we get about this, not as a question.
Andy, before we move on, I want to do some housekeeping. Jessica, you said you're having a hard time hearing.
Yeah, I'm feeling
Kiara,
like-
Kevin, Eric?
I was trying to get in there. I'm also having a hard time hearing because I really couldn't understand what the consensus was, if we're picking the 15 youth or if we have enough
Yeah.
youth to actually do that. So I wasn't quite sure what.
And I
what he
hear
was trying to
John
say.
perfectly. I hear John perfectly, but like when Andy talk, it's like I hear every other word. So I can hear Sean, but I don't hear everybody else as clear as I hear Sean.
Eric, Kevin, are you hearing fine?
It's a little muffled. Yeah, it's
Okay.
a little muffled, but I'm working my way through it.
Uh,
I can hear you, but I cannot hear Andy, so I don't know, in looking at that video, the screen, I don't know if the mic is in front of Andy or where it's at.
They said they're having a hard time hearing you, Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since you're basically having, yeah, the mic, we think that our voices are also being interfered, that's not like through the room. So it could just be some weird reverberation or something. Not sure.
Would he be able to sit in a different seat since he's conducting, the main part, going through the minutes and everything?
Yeah,
Have you,
'cause it's
have
only
you?
Andy.
Because
have
we
you-
can't hear, so we can't really participate properly or
Yeah,
vote.
we can't
So we don't-
everybody but Andy.
Yeah.
It's just you, Andy. Yeah. Yeah. Why don't we try a different seat? He's gonna try a different seat.
Or even Sean, if you want to, just kind of read, like, say what he's saying in a nutshell, I guess. I don't know.
Is that better?
Hello.
Was that better?
I can hear you better there, Andy.
All right. Eric can hear you better. I haven't heard from the others.
I didn't hear him at all. Did you say something, Andy?
Yeah, you know. Something. Hello.
What did you say? Oh, okay, I think I can hear you. I heard hello.
All right. All right, so I think we're moving on though to the maintenance plan strategy updates.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, why don't you come and take this microphone? And I'll move next to you. Move you around.
Sounds like Andy has that old Roger Trotman voice box going on.
Yeah. All right. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, much,
Yes,
much
we can.
better. Yay.
Thank you.
We're reunited, as they say.
Yes.
Oh, now they can't hear me. Okay, wait. Can you guys hear me now? Okay. Okay.
High tech.
This is that good city technology. Okay. No, I mean everything works perfectly fine. So, but it's just not all working in the right order or whatever you were saying here. So, all right. So for the maintenance plan strategy updates, I just want to have a discussion. I started to draft an initial project management plan for the public art inventory. So we had those around 700 pieces identified. We presented the public art inventory to the City of Akron Council. Megan, I believe, went, and maybe Roberta as well, I think. And I think Mac was also there in summer, and they presented to the City Council. And then they released a press release, and I think there were several articles as well. I think I saw one from Signal Akron. I think there were some others about the public art inventory releasing. Um, and so now that we have that and we've identified all these pieces that need maintenance, we need to start assessing how we want to apply updates, repairs, conservatorship to these pieces. And we were given funding by the city, and we want to be able to, if we need to, mobilize this funding for maintenance. And so I think that one of the first steps would be looking at this report that Mac took a bunch of time to put together for us, right? And think about which pieces are going to need conservatorship, and think about how we're going to approach the process of having a conservator repair those pieces if needed. Past that, I think we need to start looking at the pieces where we could mobilize other local resources, like students who need volunteer hours at Akron Public Schools, other youth, people. We could go to local ward meetings and find people who want to volunteer, or just try to like mobilize other volunteers generally to go to the locations where this art's located. And based off of the assessment of the art from ArtX Love and the art inventory, actually just update it and repair it. But when we're going to do this, we want to be able to track when those updates are made, right? Because we want to be able to say, oh, well, 300, 500 pieces needed to be updated. Well, when did that happen? Who did it, right? So that we can see progress over time of all of that occurring. So we can see the art being cleaned, repaired, de-accessed, put into place. So we have a historical record. So not just a point in time snapshot of the public art inventory, but actually a running history of all the updates that were also made to the art over time. And so because the way that the database exists now is more like a snapshot, if we just go straight into ArcGIS, for example, and update the field from poor to good condition, we're not actually tracking anywhere that we did that. And so we need some sort of project management system. And so what I'm proposing is, and I'm talking to Summer and Sean right now about getting access to the data from ArtXLove to be able to put an application together for this process. When we go out and we identify pieces that we want to update, I'm proposing that we essentially go into a form online and fill out information similar to the information that Mac would have filled out when he was out in the field doing the surveying, to track the updates being made to each of the pieces so that we can have historical records of all of the updates that are being made to the inventory items. Does anyone have any thoughts or questions on that? Yeah, Eric.
So Andy, on the system we have now, there's no access to attach documents to that file, meaning someone's going out to do their maintenance, do their business, attach a PDF to the file that's there. You're saying that's not in place?
Yeah, so in terms of track, can you repeat what you said? Okay, yeah. So what Eric said, basically, Eric asked if there's an ability to attach a PDF, I'm assuming, to an individual record having to do with an individual item in the inventory. Is that correct, Eric?
That, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that there is that ability to attach a file. Now, I will say, in the way that, without going over in depth, the way that the database system normally works to be able to query it or like use some of the functionality, right? If I want to look at the pieces that were updated, let's say between now January and like June. So like the first 2 quarters of 2026, right? Then if I attach a PDF to that, the system's not smart enough to go in and let me filter on that. And so I think that what's going to happen is we're still going to have to make updates to individual fields, but we don't want to overwrite the old values. We just want to make a new version of the record, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Does anyone else have questions on it? Mhm.
regards to everything. There's also about commission management
Mhm.
policies. And it's very important that we look for like it's a review,
Mhm.
guidelines, cuts down decisions and organization. And so, I guess really important to do. There's also even like part of what we committed to was a 5-year review of the question, 5 years, including hiring a servicer to provide some guidance as well. Now, can Mac service that potentially? I think he's done some of that work, but I think a lot of what we're trying to get, if I'm understanding correctly, Andy, you're just trying to get some sort of database to manage all of this and determine, but I would encourage a review of that guide, the administrator guide, because it has all the guidelines.
Yes, John, that's a really good point. And actually, this system isn't actually implying anything about the process of making the updates. It's just facilitating the capability to make an update, right? And so we're still going to have to deliberate on the processes of collection management, how we want to update things, how we want to choose whether to conserve something or whether it can just be like updated with some basic screws or nails, how we're de-accessing. And so I think that going to the administrative guide is going to be like a really important step for that and determining the process around it. But we can't actually facilitate the process until we have like a system to actually make the updates on the records. And then that would kind of just be centered around how to use the system. I think so. I haven't made any, yeah. Right. The collect. Yeah, and the administrative guide for anyone listening or anyone in the commission, because I know that we have new commissioners as well, that's actually on the website. So if you go to the Akron Public Art website, the administrative guide's there. At the beginning of the commission, they put this together, and there's so much good information in there to look at in terms of many topics, including collections management. And so when we actually go to make the decisions about how to update these things and who we're going to mobilize and how we're applying processes to collections management for public art in this inventory, we already have an administrative guide to consult on. So that's something that would be good to take a read on moving forward. And it's something that, if I read or John reads, we may be referring to in future meetings. So it'd be good to be generally aware of its existence when we're talking about whether we should make a particular decision or not in regards to collections management. Does anyone have any like thoughts or questions additionally on that or anything else just on the maintenance plan strategy or project management, things we should consider? Hi.
I do have a question.
Oh,
Um,
okay,
how?
Kiara.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was someone else talking? I didn't.
Well, you're talking now.
Oh, okay. Just really quick, I just wanted to ask, like, how soon do we want to implement this? Because I know we've been talking about getting this started for a while, but what's going to be the timeline that we set so that we can get started on everything?
That's a really good question, Kiara. I've already reached out to and I'm trying to work with Summer and Sean on being able to build the application for us to be able to make the updates to the records. And so the timeline's really going to depend on a few things. It's going to depend on when I can get the data, like with all the different fields and stuff from Mac to actually just start building an application. I've just volunteered to build an application where we're able to make these updates. It's going to depend on information coming back from the city, either the GIS department or IT department on technology enablement. So we need to figure out what we're going to do in terms of technology enablement, the costs associated with that, and how those are going to be funded, whether that's coming from the part of the general fund donated to the Akron Public Art Commission or otherwise. Once all those things are ironed out and we have the technology and we have the application, right, then we might have a better idea. But for right now, I would like to do it in the next few months in terms of like me developing the system or getting the data to start doing that, right? I want to start now, basically. How long is it going to take? I think that having like a final version system where you can go to a website at some link and enter in like an update to a record or request an update to a record to be reviewed, that might be a few months out. So I'm not sure yet, to be honest with you. It's just going to depend on some of the communications and the timeline on those internally in the city.
So
Okay.
Andy, sorry, go ahead, Kiera.
Oh, and my last question was, are we going to have this system completed before we start the maintenance on what's needed?
I think that we could do maintenance before having it, but any maintenance that we do, we would want to make sure that we're looking at what fields are available in the inventory and tracking all the appropriate information in regards to those updates, even if that's in a spreadsheet. That way we can put it into the system, post facto kind of thing, you know?
So, so has anyone looked at Procore or Autodesk to do this simple thing? I mean, that's what we use in construction.
Yeah, I like Autodesk a lot.
Can you repeat what he said again?
He said, has anyone looked into using, I think, Procore or Autodesk? Those are both software manufacturers that have kind of like similar capabilities. I don't know if the city has licenses for some of those things. Honestly, if the city has like GIS program we can already use or AutoCAD, I'm sure they do have access to those software because everyone has it, like you said, Eric. I just don't know if we as a commission have access to that or if they have security enabled for us to, for example, hand them records for updates or not updates. And the city does have limited capacity in terms of, I'm assuming, both the engineering and GIS team to perform those updates. And so one of the benefits of potentially having a system outside of those, which is a database, which is also what Autodesk uses, right? And also what ArcGIS uses and those things, is that we can just go in and make the updates. And we don't have to necessarily wait on availability from city resources to do review and update over the database. But we can also get help from those folks as well in that regard.
Yeah. But I'm looking at from a time management perspective, why are you recreating the wheel when we have tools available to us at a simple cost, right? You purchase a Procore, and if you want to manage the Procore, you can. That or Autodesk, either way, instead of recreating exactly what we already have available.
So what Eric said for everyone, Eric said, why not just buy Autodesk or Procore to not reinvent the wheel so that we could manage it ourselves? Maybe, but then why go through reinventing the wheel? I agree with you. I think that those systems might be a little even more complex than we need. I think what I'm doing is just like the next level up from like a spreadsheet. It's basically an access database with a form on top of it. I mean, that's the equivalent of what I'm doing, or trying to do for the city, right? Is I'm just building a form where you go in and enter the data and it generates a new record and versions the old record. Whereas Autodesk and some of these other ones are a little bit more involved. If we have a database on an individual server, then, we can use open source free software where we don't have to actually pay for an additional software license. And so I think in the long term, it could just be cheaper and simpler just to use a basic database to do this instead of relying on more complicated software. That's my opinion. I do like Autodesk. I like AutoCAD, things like that. I'm actually really familiar with those softwares, but I think that some of those things could be a little bit more complex rather than just like a basic form on top of a simple database,
So what is your recommendation for record keeping and security and backup?
Yeah, so we would just want to version essentially the database on some reoccurring period into some backup drive, which could be like an export as like a CSV file or something, because we're talking about records in the hundreds with maybe 50 fields. So it's not a large data set, right? The images are going to make up most of the storage for the data set. So in terms of like versioning, system attributes, right? Like how resilient is it? Is all the data going to go away if it gets blown up, right? We would want to design in like versioning. We would want to design in availability. We would want to design in the ability to go in and make updates, right, easily to the schema, maybe if we want to add new fields for tracking new things on art. So I think that all those things could get considered. I think if you have any specific ideas about those, it'd be great to provide those now, already in the systems design process. In terms of security, I would want to work with the city IT because we've discussed having this on a city server. So if it is on a city server and they give us something like a virtual machine, which for anyone uninitiated, that's just a computer. They give us a computer, right, to run the software on. It would just be a matter of the city IT going on and setting up what are called ingress and egress rules to that so that only certain people are able to authenticate and access the server. And then we can also add in something like authentication so that you need a username or password to actually make updates to the inventory. There's also the question of in project management, Eric, if we want to have a review step right? Or if we want to just go in and make updates. So are we going to have it open in the public? There's a app, in the future for the public to submit proposed updates and then we review them and then approve them and they get submitted? Or are we as the commission just going to keep a record of all the work happening and we're going to go in and make these updates? So the process isn't exactly figured out in that regard. And so that's kind of where I wanted to have the discussion with you guys to get your input on it.
Yeah, it just seems like a lot of time. Yeah, we would need to discuss that further.
Yeah. I don't think it'll take a ton of time. I've set up applications like this in the matter of like one day. So if I have the right resources to do it and permissions and stuff, I don't think it'll take that long to set up personally. Uh, but it just depends on having the enablement to do it. And if we can get it from City GIS or if they put it on ArcGIS or Autodesk or something like that, and that's their solution, that would work out pretty good for us, But I think that's just a matter of conversations with the city IT. So what we can do, Eric, is we could actually, I can have Sean and Summer when we're having conversations with IT in the city as an alternative solution, right? Like a trade analysis or something. We could propose, hey, can we just have some like access, a commissioner access to GIS, right? Or to Autodesk. Now, what the city brought up is in terms of licensing costs and the costs to store the data and like the compute costs, for example, for the computer to run any applications, they're worried about separating out the costs because they just want to make sure that if we're doing it, that we're paying for it, if that makes sense. And so I think that it's going to come down to a conversation of costs and time.
Okay. I see it differently, but okay. All right, we can move on to the next topic.
I mean, I agree with you, Eric. That's the easy solution, but I don't have any control over the city IT either. So, oh, Eric just said, I think Eric's just, he wants to just move on. I think he said.
Yeah. Um, like updates on some stuff like if they were to. I also don't know if it made much sense for us to pay for them to be making about like in a couple of years. Folks won't have the skills to like keep.
Yeah. So Megan, just for me, like a personal statement, this would be a system that exists that you don't have to update or maintain. So if you've ever used like a Microsoft Access database, for example, it's user friendly. There's a form. There's like text boxes in there. You go in, you click stuff in the text box and you hit commit and it updates the database, for example. So it would be something that simple. So there would be like no development or coding or IT on the side of the commission. All of this talk is more about like getting the thing set up. So the end result would be you go to like a website, right? And there's a form on the website to add or update a record. You select the record you want to update. You add in like text boxes, the things you want to update, or click on a calendar, the dates you want to the date you did it, and you hit submit and it updates it. So, I mean, on that regard, even though these things are complex in terms of talking about setting up the system, the final system or the way that the commission interacts with it won't necessarily be complicated. And to address the other part with costs, we have to pay for it regardless. So if it stays in ArcGIS, we're paying for it. And if it goes to City GIS, we're also paying for it. So we're actually still paying for it regardless. And the way I'm proposing to do it is actually, I'm assuming more cost effective. So because I'm just doing it from scratch instead of paying for like a ongoing license to a system that's going to result in a lot of costs over many years. So Eric, did you have your hand up for something?
I did because we can't hear John, Roberta, and I'm on the other side. So you'll have to ingest. You'll have to repeat what they're asking.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Megan just like reiterated that we should have like a simple process. I think that the sentiment of everyone is that this process should be simple, like, and that she understands the purpose of archiving records, but that it should still just be a simple process. That's
Yeah,
all.
well, accessing the database and seeing the files within the database that you're accessing should be simple. The work to get to that probably will not be simple, but that's just my opinion.
Well, okay. Well, I professionally do these things, so I'd be willing to talk to you about my capability to build that thing for you if you want.
Again, yeah, we don't need to talk about and get in the weeds
I mean,
on
I
this
can
and
give
all
you
that.
examples or my resume or anything. I can build it, and it'll be simple and pretty quick. I think it'll be a simple system. So,
Okay, but Andy, again, you're talking in things that you do daily. Someone who does not may see it differently. That's all I'm saying. So,
yeah, I get it. I'm just, yeah. So Eric's saying these are things you do daily, but he's referring to that other people might not see it that way. Eric, I think what I'm saying is I'm trying to make it simpler. So instead of
yeah,
using Autodesk or GIS, I'm trying to create a form, like a user form with text boxes where someone can make an update. And I think that anything else would be too complicated. Like everyone here can go into like Microsoft Forms and do a survey. This would be that simple. And I'm trying to make updates that simple. I think that's my, yeah.
okay.
I think we should, maybe table this conversation. It seems like the two of you know more about this one-on-one and everyone else here lost.
Eric's questions are good. We're not arguing, but yeah.
I'll say, maybe, Eric, you can send out some thoughts, on suggestions about this, that, was. And you also, would you have?
Yeah. Well, Eric also project management too. So
Then we give them people your thoughts and then vote.
Yeah.
Because it's now it's like a conversation to look for everyone else understands the verbiage.
yeah, that's fine. Eric's just asking me questions since I was proposing to build it, which are valid. Since if I have free time, we can talk about it. But he's also bringing up points just about like the system, how it's going to work, backing it up. These are all good questions. And then he's also giving perspective on like project management and process too, which is good. So, um, yeah, Eric, if you want to have a conversation offline, I'm like willing to do that and share my ideas. I just want to make it simple, basically. So,
No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
okay. All right. So moving on, I don't think anyone has any. Does anyone else have anything regarding project management of the art inventory updates you want to bring up or any considerations, questions? Megan?
Is this almost- Is that coming in?
Well, yeah, but this goes kind of back to what John was saying too. I think that the workshops have to do with understanding the values of the community and what they want to update and where we're going to focus funds. What John's talking about is like collection management and how the administrative guide might apply to how we approach conserving art, like having a conservator doing review on a like 5-year basis or like actually doing the process. And then what we're talking about is like the technology or database, which is going to facilitate doing it. So those are all kind of different aspects, if that makes sense. So like, yeah, I think that that's involved with it, but that's more going to be a question of our strategy, right? Not, and then what John was talking about is more like our process, and what Eric and I was talking about is more like the technology, if that makes sense.
Something very easy, small. If you just looking. The inventory already with what it is, we can access it as a machine. And we just see like the art that has graffiti on it, and we work with our landlord to get big on books. And ask for all of your people clean on graffiti on. Like that's very simple, very good, very nice, and then that we like the things that we start with. In the technology saying that there was nothing.
Yeah, Megan, I think that's a great idea. Oh, for everyone online, Megan basically asked about Megan asked about it's the best way to reiterate this. She basically asked if the generative toolkits and some of the workshops we were talking about doing are related to this, in which my reply was the workshops we're talking about doing with schools, the community, et cetera, are more about our strategy or focus. Whereas John's questions with the administrative guides more about process, how we do collection management. And what I was talking about with Eric was more about technology. And then Megan brought up a small win could be that we go out and we actually identify some pieces with the community. She's saying we could use the map itself as kind of like an interactive artifact to actually get sentiment back from the community live using the database, which is this nice map we have, right? We can get people's opinions on it. We can identify some pieces that actually need to be updated, and then we can actually schedule and go out and actually do an update as a small win to show that we're actually like going to be able to put the inventory to use. And I guess my reply was, I think that's a great idea. You're more than like welcome to just schedule that. So that's not something that I think that has to be like explicitly scheduled, right? So we could just go do that. We could go look at pieces that Max already submitted, by the way, I think in the last meeting on his report that he sent to us in the PDF. And we could like set up a time maybe with some council folks, if we wanted to do like a walk around maybe one of the wards, maybe like Ward 1, a place where there's a lot of pieces of art. We could do like a ward walk, which is a thing I know happens semi-frequently to pieces of public art. And we could talk with the citizens live in front of the pieces of art. How could we update these while addressing things like the administrative guide, as John said. And, we have people on site who understand things like what appropriate conservatorship for that art would be, right? And find things that are within our ability to mobilize either like maybe like students or community members to fix and actually just start doing that and recording those things. I think that would be a great idea. And if you schedule that, I'd be willing to work with you on it and go out and participate as well. That's my thoughts. Does anyone else have thoughts on that?
It's a great idea.
Eric said it's a great idea.
I concur.
Kevin concurs. I think that's it. Yep. So the last thing we have on the agenda then, just to wrap up, because we got to finish up here. 2025 annual report development. So we haven't actually put together an annual report yet, but one of the things we wanted to eventually be able to do was put together a report of activities that we did in the prior year. So this would be a matter of identifying the projects and work that we did in the prior year and putting together a small presentation for those things. And maybe we could present it either to the mayor or city council or something if we get a contact with either Sean or Summer ahead of time to get that set up. So I was just interested in potentially putting the annual report together, but I'm also trying to apply my skill sets towards the things where I feel like I can make the biggest impact. And so I was curious if anyone wanted to volunteer to take a crack at using some of the resources that we already have. So I know I have a PowerPoint template already set up that has our fonts and images and some graphic assets in it. If somebody wanted to take a stab at putting together like an annual report document that we can use ongoing in the future to present the work that we're doing on a year-by-year basis, I was gonna like leave that open and see if anyone wanted to volunteer to take on that kind of initiative. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Some to share administration in regards to and council in regards to what are goals, what are we achieving, really just streamline all of that, because we already have all that information.
Yeah.
We'll just streamline versus trying to create larger project, whatever. That's my suggestion. And I think that maybe the members of administration, because I know that Sean and Summer are talking up the commission is doing already internally. I would presume on an ongoing basis. So I think it'd be different if the council would say you want to record, or if Mayor said I like to report, which I don't know if that is state of protocol for the commission. Sean, I know it's going to be doing in public health commission, but I just don't know if it's efforts we're going to want so much versus us just next year getting back on the document in front of council and doing the presentation.
Yeah, I understand. So yeah, no, I understand that for sure. So for everyone online, what John was presenting was that he's not sure if the juice is worth the squeeze. I feel like that was a really good concise summary of what he said. But he said he's not sure, given all of the communications that we've already had, such as presenting the public art inventory to the commission council, and some are presenting to council and the mayoral administration as well as Sean, whether it's worth putting together a plan, but to think about how you could streamline communications about these things, or whether council's even interested in this, given the activity of other commissions and not really putting these things together. My reply, I agree with that. I don't think that we really need one for 2025. I think what I'm interested in, from a perspective of communications, is having something that we could either put on the website or put out through like social media to also provide to the community, so that when the community comes on a year by year basis, not just council and the mayoral administration, but everyone has an idea of like what we worked on or voted on or did during the year. So they could, for example, see all of the projects we approved, where there's going to be new art in the city, even if we didn't like necessarily commission it. Those things I think could be interesting for somebody who wanted to like have a way to quickly assess like the activity without going through all of the individual commission meetings or meeting minutes that are publicly available. And I don't think that the juice is worth the squeeze probably for 2025, because you made a really good point that we've already presented to council so many times. We might even be doing something similar to that with going out to individual wards and schools and interacting with the city more this year, as we've talked about in terms of our strategy. So I agree with you on that it might not be worth it for 2025, but I guess the sentiment behind it from me going forward was to have a way for people to understand what we're doing when we come to the meeting. So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone, but like, this is how many of our, traffic signals. This is how many commissioners. Like, help us down, here's our 2026 goals, let's get it, and like, we put it on the website and we send it out to people, and like, we.
Yeah.
Give it to, communication things, and maybe they can put it on social media, so folks can see it, and like, that is good to go, and we get it on written.
Yeah. Yep. So what Megan said and that John agreed with is that it makes sense to do a one pager, keep it really simple, put a few stats on there, like how many commissioners there were, how much money we spent, what like, which projects we approved, how many traffic boxes we put wraps on, just some quick metrics so people can see it, then put it on the website and send it out. Not something complicated or like in depth with data compilation, but more so something that's just a one pager graphic with basic statistics on it so people can understand what we're doing. And then honestly, I think that would be better for the modern communications format of social media as well. So I also agree with you on that. And I know we talk about stuff outside the meeting a lot, so we can talk on, doing that. I don't mind putting something like that together, but I'm sure one of us has capacity to do like a quick one pager. So yeah.
Like, okay.
So you're asking for how many commissioners each year now we have?
Yeah,
Because this, the basic is not that we go for a period of time about 8 or 7. But I think that should be also, like John said, that on the agenda, every minute has what commissioners been there. So I can go through all of those to see.
I just mean like, right now for us right now, like a minute years ago, there was other people.
Yes,
So like, how many people have been commissioners?
the total of everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I think if we're doing kind of public art commission as a whole infographic instead of just like this past year, I think some of that makes sense.
Yeah, as a whole, yes, yeah, I understand. I know you at the end. And then you were saying all the artwork that we done throughout since 2020.
Maybe not every like project that we've approved, literally. I think that would be a lot. So I think the idea is to keep it simple. So maybe if we were doing a year to date one, like all of 2025, maybe that could make sense. But I think if we're doing like what has the art commission accomplished altogether, I know that we had the letter where we addressed that we met like most of our large goals already. We could probably just focus on how we put art on public art infrastructure. We're putting like the maintenance plan together, things like that. The big goals that we were able to achieve, getting funding from the city, like regular recurring funding. things along those lines, I think would be good to present.
So you have all five, projects.
I do. They're unsubmittable, so. Well, we've talked about which ones we approved in the meetings, and then everything's unsubmittable, so. I know we didn't go over everything that went through submittable necessarily. Some stuff just got randomly sidelined or wasn't applicable anymore, I think, but I don't remember specifics, so.
Okay.
Mhm.
So this. Well, thank you.
I think we don't have anything
We
left
have
after that.
Public comment.
Oh, does anyone have any public art events to share, or does anyone have any other just topics you wanted to discuss or bring up during the meeting? Summer has her hand up.
If there's. Okay, so we went back. I did not do a submission. Yet, it's finalized, but we will be doing a project. Redlining, and potentially the mural here in City Hall. That showcase the redlining. It's not always, it's a lot of positivity, it's interactive. I've been talking with Dar Harper and her team, as well as Puzzle that will be creating the final piece. But I wanted to put it all together to get the blessing from the very before I brought it to the commission for approval. We've been in conversations for months regarding this. It's just to showcase the red line in Akron, sort of interactive where you can use your phone, scan the QR code, and maybe some things may come to life, some things may not. But it also may tell a story about the red line in Akron.
That's really cool.
That's but we want to make sure it's in the future. So look out for some application. Hopefully we can get it approved for February so that we can go ahead and get the mural put together so that it can be something to apply this year.
Okay. John, do you have a comment?
I didn't hear her.
One sec, Jay. I'll repeat for you guys. One sec.
No, it's the so we're not. It's actually both. Yeah, and
Yep. Okay, so for everyone online, since Jay said she couldn't hear, essentially Summer was talking about a potential project in City Hall. Was that where you said, Summer? Yeah, so in City Hall with Dara Harper about a project related to redlining in Akron. So if you're not familiar with redlining, it's this practice that used to occur about like approval for certain like homes or residences based off of like sometimes protected traits or income or things like that. That there's a history about, and it's not all negative. As Summer pointed out, it's meant to be largely educational and talking about prevention and going into the future, and that there might be QR codes on like this art piece or art installation where people can come in and interact with the art installation. But she wanted to get the blessing from the mayor. It's not going to be funded by Akron Public Art Commission. It would be funded by another nonprofit, and it would be in City Hall. And that's something we can expect to see through submittable in February.
just this is it's all across the history of showcase the resilience and triumphs of that. This is what include mapping, historical mapping, imagery, interactive elements, educational panels, and so forth. So, working with the Black Artists Guild, like I said, on Harper and a few others, to do this piece.
It'll be publicly accessible, right? Like I can walk in and see it. That's cool. I'm interested to come see that whenever it's because I'm gonna vote for it at least. It sounds cool. I love the idea of that. So, does anyone else have comments on what Summer said generally, or versus my quick summarization online of what Summer said? I did my best to represent what she said, but it'll also be in the YouTube video that will be up today or tomorrow. So, okay. All right. So, any public comments? Yep. Go ahead. If you. Oh, no worries.
You come to the mic.
If you can come up to the mic.
I'm sorry.
Why do you have to run?
It's good.
We run over.
I-
We should mind.
Jim Cole. And 4 years. And being from Ohio, I.
Not sure.
With Jesse Owens, and I wanted to try to do something. To honor him. And, when he won those 4 gold medals in 1936. With each gold medal, he received, an oak sapling from the Black Forest in Germany. And he brought them back. Oh, by the way, you have to copy of the, report newspaper, the current issue.
Mr. Wilson,
Something you're getting.
could you come speak on this mic so that the commissioners can hear you? Come on this side.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, but come on this side so they can hear you from that. You're most welcome.
Anyway, what I decided to do is, I planted the first oak tree at the Mac Center at Kent State, and if you go over there, it's about 20 feet tall now. And I planted a second one at the University of Akron track. The one at Kent State was also in honor of my father and his teammate, Bill Cox. Mr. Cox was the third black athlete at Kent State. He and my dad were lifelong friends. He passed away a few years ago. But he was a flight mechanic in World War II for the Tuskegee Airmen. So I've kind of gone off in another direction, in addition to Mr. Owens and honoring the Tuskegee Airmen. But the tree at the University of Akron, that's a little bit different. I didn't think they'd want honoring Kent State athletes. So in addition to Mr. Owens, it's in honor of the first black female and male track athletes at the university. Tracy Haynes ran from 1982 to 1986, and Emma Lancaster ran from 1919 to 1921. I also planted one at the riverfront Y in Cuyahoga Falls. The reason for that, my dad, he's still alive. He'll be 99 next month. Till just a short while ago, he was still going up to the Y. There's a big plaque. Mr. Owens, my dad, and his teammate, and I finally planted a fourth one at Fort Island Griffiths Park in Fairlawn. It was on Jesse Owens' birthday in September, and we'll be going back there sometime this year. You know, we'll have an event. As far as the red tail part of this, I planted a red maple tree. I thought that was appropriate because the Tuskegee Airmen were known as the red tails because of the red tail markings on their fuselage. And that is planted up also at the University of Akron. It's down the walkway from Jar Arena and the clock tower. There's a big plaque there. We planted one just a few weeks ago at Lake Anna on the West Shore near the War Memorial. And we're going to be going back there later this year to dedicate that tree. Part of what I've done, I don't know if you saw the article or not, but there were 69 Ohio Tuskegee Airmen pilots. And a few years ago, the Ohio legislature designated March 29th as Ohio Tuskegee Airmen Day. So I had a 7-foot retractable banner made, and it has a history of the Tuskegee Airmen on it, and it lists the name, the rank, and the Ohio hometown of the 69 Tuskegee Airmen pilots. And starting last year in Black History Month, I took that around
displayed at 22 different places. It was here at Akron City Hall. There's a picture of the Akron and police fire chiefs with it. It was at the Mack Center at Kent State with President Diacon and the Air Force ROTC. It was at Bookto Hall with President Neimer with the Army ROTC. It was down at Canton City Hall with Mayor Scheer, some active duty Army members. Veterans Day, I took it up to the Rotunda at Cleveland City Hall. It was there for their event. Anyway, schools, libraries, a lot of different places. Starting next month, we'll be taking that around again. But the reason I'm here, what I'd like to do, I'm trying to honor Mr. Cox in Ravenna. We'll be doing something there later this year. He's going to be elected to the High School Hall of Fame. He's a 3-sport star there. But I'd like to have a mural painted in Akron honoring the Tuskegee Airmen. And I've paid for everything. I don't need any funding or anything like that. But I've just, started to get into this process. I've not done something like this. I have an idea of what I'd like it to look like. There's some very famous pictures. If you look on the internet, the Tuskegee Airmen, I'm thinking of, 4 or 5 of the airmen in front of one of the aircraft they flew, something like that. I talked to Phil Lombardo. Phil was nice enough to put me in touch with Summer. I spoke to her. She suggested coming down here today. Appreciate your taking the time to hear me out. As you can imagine, there's just a massive paper trail on this. But any suggestions you might have, I am be happy to hear them. But I'm just getting started in this process. One of the people I've worked with at the University of Akron, Nate Newhouse, he's the director of development.
Yeah.
He got a hold of a lady that you may know in the professor in the art department. I think her last name is Galarrago. She's done some murals here in Akron. Some of the students at the University of Akron, they've offered to paint this. As much as I can get donated, I will, but I'm just basically asking help me find a location for this. I originally thought, indoors somewhere, maybe a community center, the main library. But I occasionally talk to Sean Cooper, Eileen Shapiro's assistant. By the way, he's been nice enough. He's given me a lot of pots, another little side project. One of the oak trees, it produced acorns, and they told me it'd be about 10 or 15 years. But the one in Cuyahoga Falls, I collected about 120 acorns. So I've got them in the pots that Sean gave me. We're going to try and get some saplings, and we'll just give them away next year. But he's the one that he suggested outdoors somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the long and short of it. Appreciate your time. I thank you for listening.
Yeah, of course. So I guess Summer, do you have something really quick?
Well, I was going to say, good conversation. Once he's ready, I'll walk him through this process.
Yeah.
And then, also discuss locations and stuff. So,
Yeah. I was just going to direct you again, and it sounds like you're working with some already to the submittable in the process for submitting public art. And since we're looking at art on public infrastructure, there are other locations. I'm thinking around the city of Akron where it would be good. I know that there are areas near the Myers School of Art. This is just an idea I have off the top of my head, but there's some old art that's being removed on Wolf Ledges Parkway that used to be there. And that's right by where they do like a lot of flight and aeronautical stuff over there, actually. And it's also by the College of Engineering at the University of Akron, and it's by the Myers School of Art, and it's right off the roadway, so it could be a convenient location to paint. But they're removing old art there at the moment. I believe they're DXSing those kind of like broken glass kind of pieces there, and it was updated, I think, by the Walk 3 Summer Arts Experience once, and then updated one other time. It was repainted, but now I think it's kind of old, so there's kind of that overpass. But any piece of public art that the city owns, or any piece of public infrastructure that the city owns, as long as you get write-off from the other appropriate departments to do it, which Summer can help work with, but it's kind of outside of our purview. If you get permission to put it there, in terms of materials, et cetera, all we're really going to ask you is about how you're going to maintain it, who's going to maintain it going forward, how it's being funded, questions like that. And those are all things that you're going to like go through when you go through the submittable process. So I don't have any other comments or suggestions in terms of location, but Megan.
I'm sorry.
He's the.
I was swimming. I still have the water here.
Okay. So. Takes university down from students and high school students.
Yeah.
to get them together to-
Yep.
Like that's, so I'm glad that he's already. They will also be able to do some research on locations as well.
Well, Nate put me, I have not actually spoken to her. Nate's been like a go-between.
Okay.
So, but he said, I mean, just let him know.
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, if you want. Well.
Well, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And, you know, I love the hearing, like taking over a space that decommissioned already, leaving. But I also think, you know, when we came to the council last month, I recognized, Councilman Hannah's interest in getting art in Ward 5. So I also, you know, like I have some ideas for that, and I'm also even thinking like Firestone Park area would also be really good for something like this. But like this is your project, I would be happy to like think of some ideas and like get you in contact, but I don't in any way, shape or form want to take it over. So you let me know kind of what you're thinking of, and I will help and support in any way I can as a commission.
Well, thanks very much. I really appreciate it. I'm an Akron guy, so there actually was one pilot from Akron, Mr. McClinic, and I'm gonna look into what I'd like to do eventually. The 69 pilots, about 20 of them were from Cleveland, so you can imagine the family members that are still there. And I talked to Edmund Paris. He's a veterans liaison for Mayor Bibb. And what we'd like to do eventually, you know, with that banner with all the names, is try and locate surviving family members and have them read their family member's name. When we had the banner down at MAPS, there's a Tuskegee Airmen group from Cleveland, and one of their members, his father, was a Tuskegee Airman, and he was able to read his name down there at, you know, it was a World War II event this past summer. And so I may have stumbled onto something, but that's what we'd like to eventually do is identify, you know, where the surviving members, the family members are. And then use that banner. You can, if you look at the paper, you can see it's taller than I am. I mean, it's 7 feet tall, but you know, you just read those names and, you know, this is history. And these were, excuse me, some of America's greatest heroes. We're standing on the shoulders of these men. And that America was a far different country then than it is now. You know, racism, segregation, discrimination. And these men were asked to lay their lives in line for the country at a time when they couldn't even go into a restaurant and have a hot dog at a lunch counter. I mean, these are the kind of people that we need to remember.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Kevin, sorry. Were you talking with us again?
Jessica just said, for anyone who didn't hear, yes. Yes.
And she did a heart emoji on the.
And she also said, I like him with like 4 exclamation points.
So Bill Cox was a member of Side Fraternity.
Right.
Kevin is also a member. And I think he was one of the first people that,
One of his best friends was a Mr. Scruggs.
yes.
And I believe he he was a teacher worked for the Akron board for a long time. And I met him a couple of years ago. I've tried to get a hold of him lately. He was older than I am. But I'm in touch with Mr. Cox's son, Billy Jr. down in Florida. And we're trying to do some things in Ravenna. He'd like to bring his whole family back to Ohio. There's 3 other brothers. We located the building that his father grew up in Ravenna. It's right across from the Portage County building. It was an apartment upstairs from a barber shop, and the barber shop is still there. We had a picture sent down to Billy. We got a yearbook from 1940. So we're trying to do as much as we can to keep it alive for some of the family.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate that. I got like a little history lesson here, which is great. But so I appreciate the comment, and feel free to come back next month after you get the submittable filled out. And if you have a location or anything else available, we'll help you however we can. And Megan offered to help even more, so that's Megan DeLong over there. Summer can give you her contact information if you want it as well to help out more with getting in contact with Myers School of Art. So.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
I just one thing, if you each have like a business card, could I maybe ask for that before I?
Summer might.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so we're just gonna move on though. But I really appreciate you stopping by to talk. Thank you.
Very quickly.
Appreciate your time.
if I
Thank you
may.
very much.
Yeah, of course. All right. So,
Hey, Andy. Andy.
Kevin,
Hi.
Kevin trying to say something, Andy?
I
Andy?
Yeah,
think
yeah.
Kevin is trying to say something possibly.
Oh, yep. Kevin has a comment actually for you, sir. I believe. Kevin, you can go ahead and talk.
So let's try, yeah.
Yeah, first, I am in touch with Brother Jim.
Oh, Kevin, I don't know if we can hear you super well. I'm trying to hold the mic up, but it sounds like it's very quiet from your side. Are you able to try to?
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, Kevin's making a comment, but he's just a bit quiet here.
Can you hear me now?
No,
You
Uh,
Kevin,
sound
you're
far
pretty.
from the mic.
Like we can hear you, but you sound low.
Yeah, Kevin, you're pretty quiet. Hey, if you type it into chat, I can.
Just tell Summer to get that guy's information. I'm in touch with Gene Scrub.
Oh, okay.
Hold on,
So have Summer get his information for you. I can tell her that.
Okay.
Kevin, you're in touch with who?
Yeah.
Hey, Kevin, you're muted now, but you said you were in touch with someone.
Kevin's speaking through the phone that Summer has up in person. That's why. So sorry, guys.
I think that was excellent. I'm really looking forward to seeing this in submittables, and I feel like this is a great idea and much needed.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I'm excited to see where this leads.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we are almost 15 minutes past the end time now, so I'm going to work to wrap up. Could we get a motion to adjourn the January 14th, 2026 Akron Public Art Commission meeting?
I move to adjourn the January 14th meeting.
I think Roberta was first, so because you
Oh,
guys
sorry. Go
you're
ahead.
using me. But
That's
Kiara, if
fine.
you want a second, that's good. So Roberta Rogers
Yep,
motions
I
to adjourn
second.
the January 14th, 2026 meeting. Kiara motions to seconds the motion to adjourn the January 14th, 2026 Akron Public Art Commission meeting. So all in favor say aye, all not in favor say nay.
All right.
Aye.
All right, so everyone said aye, including enough commissioners on camera. We have quorum, so I'm going to go ahead and adjourn the January 14th, 2026 Akron Public Art Commission meeting. Thanks, everyone. Also, I'm going to give Sean his laptop back, so you might not be able to hear me after I
Thank
walk away
you.
right now. All
Y'all
right, thank
try
you.
to be safe out there. It's already trying to
I
snow,
will.
so be careful.
Bye. Be safe, everyone.